If someone asked you to go on a raw vegan diet, what would your reply be? No way, I'm not gonna eat all that vegetables or that raw food. I bet you wouldn't think lower diabetes. I bet you wouldn't think lower cholesterol. I bet you wouldn't think lower blood pressure. I'm about to meet Lorraine, a raw food and vegan chef and coach who is an expert in raw food. She's gonna share with you how raw food can do much more for you than you would actually believe. Her journey started as a personal one. She wanted a cure to ease the symptoms of menopause. And for all those women out there who are suffering from menopause, you know how bad those symptoms can get. Raw food was her cure. It eased her symptoms of menopause. This led her on a journey to discover more about how raw food can holistically help her life. Her story is interesting, intriguing, and absolutely amazing. And you will learn how raw food can help you on your journey to better health in the series of LEAN MindBody Stories. Hi Lorraine.
Hi Ken.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come and share your story and your expertise with us as a raw vegan chef. I firstly also want to say thank you very much for the support you've been giving the group, because at present we're on a 7-day raw vegan challenge, and your experience and advice has been invaluable to that group. My first question is, what is the difference between being a vegetarian and being a vegan?
Okay, I'll start off with vegetarian. A vegetarian person does not eat meat at all, but they do consume dairy products. So when I say dairy products, I mean anything like from milk. So we're looking at cheese, butter, cream, yogurt, and also eggs as well, which is obviously coming from the chicken. And vegan now, we're looking at somebody who is only eating plant-based foods. So no meat whatsoever, no meat products at all. So they will look at various things and think, right, has it got gelatin in there? Has it got any egg in there? They wouldn't touch it. So it's purely plants. And it's cooked and it can be raw as well. So it could be salads and it could be stews and things like that are made out of vegetables.
Would a vegan eat items that come from animals?
Not at all, not at all, no, nothing.
So what is the difference then between being a vegan and being a raw vegan?
Right, a raw vegan is somebody who doesn't cook their food whatsoever. So nothing has been heated at all. The only time there may be some heat applied is if they're dehydrating some food, and normally the temperature is 115 degrees centigrade, which is 115 Fahrenheit and 46 centigrade. But the thing is that no enzymes are depleted and all the vitamins and minerals are still intact. So that can happen if you're wanting to put a slight bit of heat to some foods, but it still remains raw.
So at that temperature, they say no enzymes and none of the goodness is taken out of the food.
Yeah, that's right.
And just for the sake of the audience again, the process of dehydrating, what happens during that process?
Well, really, with a dehydrator, you make whatever it is you're making. So, for example, I might want to make some flax crackers. So I put it in a dehydrator and there's a slight heat, and all that happens is the moisture is drawn out of it. And depending on what texture you want, you can leave it in there for a longer period of time or a short period of time. So you can get something that's pliable or something that is really crisp.
Okay, is a dehydrator an expensive tool?
Do you know what? It's that thing, you get what you pay for.
Okay.
I've got a dehydrator and I've gone for the Excalibur, and that is one that a lot of people who are really into raw food actually purchase. And if I can remember, I got mine a good few years back, and that cost me about £279, but it has got a timer on it. But there are some you can pick up from Amazon for maybe £50, but I don't know what the dehydrating time would be on that.
So while we're on the tools that a raw vegan or a vegan would use, you mentioned a dehydrator. What other equipment would someone who wants to be a vegan or a raw vegan, what would they possibly need?
Okay, well, if you're going to be a vegan, you're still going to be cooking your food. So you're still going to use your cooker, and you're going to use your pots and your pans, and you're going to use the oven, but the ingredients will vary. Whereas someone who's into raw food, they may purchase, a dehydrator if they're going to be a bit more advanced. But the main things are like a blender to make smoothies and sauces, but also a juicer to obviously make juices as well.
I've heard that it's a process of you blend fruit
Yes.
and you juice vegetables. Is that correct?
Yes, you can actually juice fruit as well.
Okay. So and that helps with the blending, helps that has the pulp still in the juice.
Yes, and it's good for cleansing, because it's got the roughage still intact, so it's good at pulling all the toxins out, and it's good for bulking you up as well, so you're going to feel a bit full still anyway. Whereas juicing now, you're getting the nutrients really, really quickly because all the pulp is taken out, so anything that's in there that's good, like your vitamins and your minerals, is going to go straight to the bloodstream.
Okay, so Lorraine, what started you on this journey?
Oh gosh, let's go back quite a while actually. I went through a period of not feeling too good in my body, and I'll explain why. I had fibroids, and I didn't know at the time. It was one of those situations where my friend actually put her hand on my stomach and she said, "Lorraine, you've got to get that sorted." Because I always had a big-ish kind of stomach, always felt bloated, but I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was my normal. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go to the doctors. So I went to the doctors, and then they said, is there any chance you could be pregnant? And I said, no, definitely not. And it got it got me worried, I got to be honest. And then they said, okay, we're going to take you for a scan, put you in for a scan at the hospital. So I did, came back, went to the doctor, and then he says, yeah, you've got fibroids. And they were very, very big. So obviously I left it. It was I'll just get on with life. So any advice to people, you've got to deal with your things when they come up. So I had to opt for procedure. So I opted for a hysterectomy. And I went for a subtotal hysterectomy, which is basically where they leave your ovaries intact and take out your womb. And it was fine, I healed up pretty well. They told me not to do any exercises whatsoever, which I didn't, because you have to heal internally, even though outside the scar looks okay. And to be honest, for the whole year, I felt great. I had no periods, so I didn't have to go to the shop and buy my Tampax or whatever it was, and I could do all sorts of things, and you feel liberated. But then it's like a whole year passed, and then boom. I just felt, foggy head. I was getting hot flushes. And basically what that is, you get a surge of heat that starts here and then just comes up to your face. And then in an instant, and you have no idea why it's happening. And I just felt like I wasn't in my own body. I realized my skin was changing. It looks like it was just getting old overnight. My memory was going. I just felt like I couldn't remember things that normally I could just remember instantly. I had this thing called crawling skin, which is basically you feel that something is crawling on your skin, you're looking, but nothing's there. So I had all these different symptoms, and I was feeling really down as a result of this. And I just felt to myself, you know what, I've got to do something. I really have to do something. So I ended up looking at ways to curb my own symptoms.
At that point, did you know what was wrong with you?
Well, to be honest, I'd done some research. So I realised that it was everything to do with the menopause. I actually was going through the menopause transition because of the result of obviously not having my womb anymore, because I'd obviously had no periods now. And it really felt a sense of, wow, liberated on one sense because I had no periods, but on the other sense, I was feeling pretty shit, if I've got to be honest. And then I thought, you know what, I want to feel better. I really want to feel better. So I ended up going to the doctor, presenting them with all the things that I was feeling. And, bless the doctor, the main thing that they talked about was HRT, hormone replacement therapy. And to be honest, Ken, I didn't want to take anything synthetic. I wanted a natural remedy to actually help me feel better in my body.
Was there any reason why you didn't want to take anything synthetic?
Because you just don't know. Because you hear of situations where someone's taking a cocktail of drugs and they're getting maybe better on one sense, but you don't know what else is going on. You don't know what impact all those different interventions are having on the body, which the body doesn't recognise because it is synthetic. So it's going to react in a certain way in terms of, making you feel worse for something else and not for the original thing that you went to your doctor for. So I was really adamant, I don't want to take anything that isn't natural. And also, I didn't want to take something that I had to rely on somebody else for, i.e. rely on going to the doctor and him giving me a prescription for something. I didn't want to have that kind of transaction. I wanted to be in control of my own body and what I put into it. And I wanted something natural because I just don't want to live a synthetic lifestyle as much as I can, you know. We've got a lot of plastic around us. We've got a lot of things that relate to not being natural. So in terms of what I put in my body, I want to control that. So that was a no-no, the HRT.
So you decided to take an alternative route?
Yeah, definitely. So as you can imagine, I was researching online because you know how we've got this World Wide Web now where we can just search for anything. And I just thought there must be something out there. And yeah, there were herbal remedies. There were different things like homeopathy, acupuncture, acupressure and all that. And I thought, yeah, that sounds good. But I was thinking, how long do you have to take those things for? You know, is there a cost implication? So I was thinking, what can I do? And it just happened at the time when I was researching, I saw something on raw foods. And I thought, ooh, that looks interesting. And I started reading about it even more. And this was online. And all the things that it said it did, I thought, you know what, that can't do me any harm. And it is natural. And I also saw things where people were saying it really helped with X, Y, and Z in terms of certain complaints they had with their health. And I thought, you know what, this might be something that could help me. So as you can imagine, I just embraced eating more raw foods. And I totally saw a difference that I felt, wow, I've got to stick with this.
So before you started your raw food, you used to eat meat and...
Oh yeah! Did I eat meat? I was barbecuing, I had the chicken, I had the fish, I had the mutton, I had the curry goat, I had, you name it, I had it. I used to go to TJI's, I'd have the shrimp, you know, the wings, everything. I was drinking as well, so I wasn't really treating my body as best as I could. There were some days I'd have healthy eating and then some days I wouldn't. So for me, I thought, yeah, I got the balance right, but you know what, deep down I was kidding myself, if I'm being totally honest.
So how did you find the transition into eating raw food?
Do you know what? I didn't think it was hard at all because I was at that stage where I wanted to eat differently. I thought to myself, do you know what? I've been eating so long this way. I am actually prepared to try another way. And to me, it was like, well, you got nothing to lose. You might actually find that you're going to eat different things that you never actually ate before, which is what actually happened. Because I realised eating meat, I was always eating the same things. It was either rice and chicken, rice and mutton. It was either pasta and, I don't know, mincemeat. It was always something and something, but it was always the same something, if that makes sense. I didn't eat a plethora of vegetables or introduce fruit into my diet in the way that I actually do now. So really, it was a no-brainer. And I enjoyed it. Because I quite like different things, and I think the good thing about me in terms of eating more raw was that I'm very open. You know, I wasn't kind of thinking to myself, no, I'm going to miss this, or I'm going to miss that. I thought, no, this is an opportunity here. I'm feeling quite shit right now, and I want change. So I thought, go for it.
So you was open to the idea
Definitely.
of eating raw, and you just embraced it?
Definitely.
So what were some of the benefits you found?
Oh wow, well to be honest, when I started eating raw, I just felt this surge of energy shift. Initially, I gotta be honest, I felt a bit crap because I realise now that it's a detox process. When you start ingesting more clean foods into the body, your body goes through a process of getting all the gunk up, and then it'll come out maybe in your spots, in probably feeling like you've got a headache. You may experience constipation or even diarrhea, depending on how the body's adjusting to all this gunk that's coming up. And to me, that was just, okay, I'm prepared to go through that because I know I'm clearing. So that was fine for me. But the next stage, it was a case of, wow, I just feel really energized. And my mind started to feel clearer. To the extent that, this may sound a bit odd, but you're looking at the world like through different eyes. It's like I was walking dead before. I was alive, but I wasn't really taking part in life. It's like I was on autopilot. When I look back now, but it's one of those things where until you start becoming healthy, you don't know how crap you were. You think that's good living in terms of your health. But until you start introducing food that is a lot more healthy and closer to nature, you realize how great you can feel. So when I started taking more things like juicing, especially like the wheatgrass juice, oh my gosh, when I drink like wheatgrass shot, sometimes I can feel like, it's like a surge of energy in my body. It's like I just get that instant buzz. And I would liken it to maybe somebody when they have an espresso. I've never really had an espresso, so I wouldn't know, but the feeling that they seem to get, or the way they talk about it, I think I liken the green juice and the green shot of wheatgrass juice to the espresso. So for me, I'd rather have the green shot really of the wheatgrass than the caffeine, because that will just spike you up. Whereas the chlorophyll in the actual wheatgrass, it resembles the blood, the same molecular structure, so it's better for you. It's that life force energy, and I think that's what I was feeling, that real buzz of energy going through my body. And I just felt really great. I just felt good in my body. It's like I came back to my body. Whereas before, it's like I had a layer of gunk around me, where all the crap was starting to go. I was feeling more, I can feel my bum. You know, there wasn't that big pad there where it was before, because I did put on a little bit of weight as well.
Did the diet help you lose weight?
Oh yeah, instantly. That's a given, you know. You're going to lose weight, definitely, because you're not eating processed foods. You're not eating foods which have got added sugar, added salt, you know, extra fat in there to make it thick and creamy and all that stuff. It is food that you know is what it is, because you're picking it and eating it, because it's the original fast food. That's what I say anyway. You pick it, you eat it. You just go to any vegetable or fruit aisle, you pick stuff, you put it together, eat it. It is a no-brainer. Anyone who feels that they want to eat more healthy, definitely raw foods, because I always say to people, what else are you going to eat? If you're not going to eat the fruit and the veg, seriously tell me what you're going to eat. And I know you can eat nuts and seeds and whatever, and that's great, and salad greens. But on a base level, if you don't eat your fruits and veg and you want something wholesome and natural, what else are you going to eat?
You know, you talked about the mental clarity, and I know that's something that people who go on a raw vegan diet mention that happens as a byproduct, that they just seem to be able to think clearer. That brain fog doesn't happen.
Yes.
And coincidentally, today I had a conversation with a health practitioner, and I mentioned about the raw diet that we're participating in, the raw vegan diet, and he happened to mention that his mother, who was 78, is on a raw vegan diet, and he was just coming off with all the benefits that her diabetes has improved, her cholesterol has improved, and she's lost weight. And he said these are some of the benefits.
Can I tell you a story? Do you mind?
Absolutely,
you just
please.
Reminded me. When I started on this journey of eating more raw, as you can imagine, you want to test it out on other people as well. And also they see a difference in you. And also you've got all this knowledge and you want to impart it on other people, because you think, God, I found something, I want to share it. Because that's just how I am. And my dad at the time, he was diabetic. He was on a medication called, I think it was metformin. And he had been taking it for like countless number of years. And to start off with, he shouldn't have been, because it's too long. I think it was 20 plus years, and you shouldn't be on it for that long. Definitely not. And he was testing his blood sugar every day. He was type 2 diabetes, I should say, really. So he was controlling it with tablets and obviously testing his blood sugar and eating a certain diet. But for some reason, his figures were always high. And as you can imagine, my parents were from Jamaica, so it's a typical yard food. You got all your starchy vegetables, you got your meat that you stew up, and then you cook down. So it's quite heavy laden food. So I got him onto the green juice and onto the green smoothies, and also eating more healthy. So I was introducing him to more raw food in his diet. And guess what? He's not a diabetic anymore, because he actually went through the process of introducing more foods that were wholesome, that were more real, and that were more natural to what they were supposed to be. They weren't packaged, they weren't being given additives, they weren't processed to the extent that everything's taken out. So really, he was a good example of somebody who's been eating a certain way for so long, and he's in his 70s. And for him to go through that process, and this is like, someone's dad out there who's probably, I don't know, sort of set in their ways, eating a certain way, can actually eradicate a particular thing like diabetes type 2. That is a good example of something like the raw food diet actually helping.
That must be such a good feeling.
Yes.
Knowing that the experience you learned helped your dad.
Yes, definitely. And you want to share that with other people as well. And that actually led me to put on classes, community education classes, where I had children and their parents or carers. And I introduced the children to raw foods. And it was great because I'd get the parents coming in and they were saying, oh no, David's not going to like that. Oh no, Sharon's not going to like that. She don't eat vegetables. And I looked at them and I went, watch this. And the way in which I'd create the meal, I'd do a tasting session for them. So they'd all sit down and I'd say, right, okay, you can have some of this. And the parents would be watching me and they'd be looking at me like, they're going to eat it. And I'm like, well, let's see. And you know what? They ate it. And the best testimonial you can get is from children, because they will tell you either way, whether it's crap or whether it's good. They're quite blunt like that. And the parents were like, wow, they don't eat that at home. And then one thing led to another. They want to know the recipe. And obviously I'm giving it to them because I want children to eat more healthy. Because the way in which the food is advertised now, it's not always great what the ingredients is. So if I can help in any way in terms of helping children, because that is the generation that is going to lift, the country, then I'll help them that way. But also the parents, because, everyone's stuck in their ways in some way, shape or form.
So what would you say to people who say, if I went raw vegan, the food is going to be boring and bland?
Not at all. All that you need to do is go to your supermarket and walk down the aisle and see the rainbow of colours. And if you've never chosen anything that is very different than your norm, this is the time to do it. Pick that red pepper. Pick something that is so vibrantly green. Pick that mango that is so yellow. You need a mixture of different vitamins and minerals, and it will come from the different rainbow of foods. So just try it. Because I always go through a period of, okay, when I go shopping now, I'm going to actually pick something that I've never even had before. I don't even know what it's called, but I will just pick it, put it in my trolley, go home, feel the texture of it and think, right, that feels a bit like a courgette. I'm going to kind of chop it up a certain way, add a bit of dressing and then eat it. Obviously if it's on a vegan tip, I might cook it with something else. You just got to experiment. You've got to be open, Don't be narrow-minded and don't think, yeah, but everyone cooks their food. There's lots of cooking programs. It's what we do. Yeah, it's what you do, but are you living at your optimum best?
So tell me, does the vegetables have to be organic?
Do you know what? This is a question everybody wants to know. Personally, because I can detect the taste, I go for organic as much as I can. Yeah? And I would say to people, if you can go for organic as much as you can, please do, because the idea is it's not sprayed with any crap, basically. You're getting the food from the soil that has been treated in a way that there's nothing in it that will harm the food, and you're getting the most natural food then. But I know to some people it may be a cost implication, but it depends what you're prioritising in your life. I'm not a fancy person. I don't do my eyebrows every week. I don't do my nails. I'm not into buying clothes or anything, but you know what? I spend money on food because it's my health and that's what's important to me. So if you can, try to. And also, if there's nothing in the supermarkets that's organic, you can have it ordered in. So there's a company called Riverford, and I buy from them like every other week depending on what's in season for them. So there are ways around it, buying organic food, and to be honest, it's quite reasonable. It's quite reasonable.
So organic is obviously better in your opinion, but not compulsory.
No, definitely not. I don't want to put anyone off, because as far as I'm concerned, eating fresh fruit and vegetables is definitely better for you than not. Because my motto is like, more raw is better than no raw. Ingest some raw foods, because things need to move in your body so you can eliminate the toxins. If you eat a lot of cooked foods that may be sticky and stodgy, then you're going to just get bunged up, and then you're going to break out, and then you're going to feel sluggish, then you're going to feel tired, then you're not going to want to do X, Y, Z, then you're going to be miserable, then you're going to put on weight, and before you know it, you're in a downward spiral, and it's not good.
So for anyone watching this who wants to start on this vegan or raw vegan journey, what would your first steps be to advise them?
First thing I would say is go into your kitchen, just look into your fridge, look into your cupboard and just see what you have. and then see where you can mix and match meals where you're actually interjecting some raw items just to balance them until you've started to eradicate everything, because I don't want people to just chuck out everything. I would rather say work with what you've got, because I don't want you to waste anything.
So you say not go fully raw. If
No.
they can't manage it, just start slowly.
Exactly. Do it gradually, because I always advocate, you've got to listen to your body. Look at how much money you have, because for example, if you're not getting paid until like next month, which may be in three weeks time, and then you've got all this food in the fridge and in the cupboard, whatever, I'm not asking you to just not eat that. I would say work with what you got, but anything you do buy, make it vegetables, fruit, seeds, nuts, that sort of thing, and then start from there. Because as far as I'm concerned, this shouldn't be labour intensive. You shouldn't overthink this. Work with what you've got, listen to your body, because your body will tell you what you need as well. Because there are lots of people out there who think, yeah, I want to start eating more healthy, I want to eat more raw. And it's because maybe they're depleted in certain vitamins and minerals, and they know they've got to eat something a bit more natural because they're crying, their body's crying out for these nutrients. So really, don't be put off, I would say, to people with this raw eating, because at the end of the day, it's the most natural food, really.
So start slowly. For anyone who may want to adopt a vegan or raw vegan lifestyle. But let's say, for example, someone listening and hearing that a raw vegan period of eating can serve as a detox, then obviously then there needs to be a start date where they just
Sure.
If someone listening wanted to go on a 7-day like what we are, or a 14 or a 28-day detox, how would you suggest they start just for a detox period?
Right. When you're going on a detox, you're obviously going to go on a journey of ingesting food that is more kinder to the body, and it's going to be less toxic. So I would say, in terms of your last meal before you do the detox, don't make it like, don't think that you can just go out on a binge and have, your fish and chips and your curry and whatever, and think, oh my God, this is the last one I'm going to have before I start. Be kind to your body. Have a light meal, yeah? Drink more, maybe warm water, because on an Ayurvedic tip, that is better for digestion and getting that fire going in the belly. So start with something more smaller the day before you do the detox, because the last thing you want is to put the body under too much pressure when you're starting to detoxify, because it's going to have to shift that big meal you had before. Because people have a tendency probably to just cram it all in the day before the detox.
So a good detox period, 7, 14, 21
7 days is good. 7 days is good. But you know what? The best one is the one you can do. And if you can do it for longer, that's great, because you're going to get more benefits. It's like anything, there's an accumulative effect. The more you do something, the more you're going to feel great. So for example, for me, I don't class myself as a raw foodist in that everything I eat is purely raw. I have periods where I eat cooked foods as well, because I'm not on this trip to impress anybody or myself. I just want to eat healthy. Maybe if I was in California, where it's hot majority of the time, I'd probably be a fruitarian. I'd probably just eat pure fruit because the hot weather's nice. But when you're living in a climate where it's cold outside and you're ingesting cold sometimes, it's not the best. Everybody's constitution is different, so you just got to listen to your own body, really.
So a combination between a raw vegan and a vegan.
Yeah, definitely, because at the end of the day, you're eating plant-based foods, and there's nothing better than that, really, in my opinion. I really don't miss the days of eating meat or going out to restaurants. I'm a great foodie. I'm not going to joke about that, but going down, sitting with all that meat, because you know what? Normally, when I'd leave the table, I'd be feeling really like this. Whereas when you eat a raw vegan meal, you feel so much better. Even a vegan meal at that, you're not feeling heavy because the choices are a lot more lighter in their texture.
So coming back to the reason why you went on this raw vegan journey to deal with the issues around the menopause, how has that helped your menopause?
Do you know what? I just feel so much better in my body. It's like I've got my body back, because I was introducing more cleaner foods. I wasn't feeling a sense of, this symptom or that symptom. My foggy head had gone. My hot flushes, I don't have them. And they can be embarrassing, because you get this flush of heat and your face goes red and you start sweating. None of that, because anything that I'm putting into my body is natural now, so I'm not going to have those spikes. And it's also real, it's not artificial. Because when something you're ingesting which is artificial, the body's going to react a certain way, and it will react with those symptoms, so to speak, as well. And it's the adjustment as well of the estrogen and progesterone that is depleting for a woman. So I just feel better all over. And people look at me and they go, Lorraine, I can't believe you're nearly 50. I've got so much energy, I'm bouncing off the wall sometimes. That is genuinely how I feel. And I do believe I owe that to the way I eat and also my lifestyle. And some people may say, yeah, but you've had no kids. Yeah, but come on, you've seen people that haven't got kids and they don't always look fantastic. So you can't use that one on me.
So if I'm right, you actually share your knowledge about how a raw vegan diet can help women with their menopause at the moment.
Definitely. But I do want to spread that to people in general. But my main kind of audience, you could say, is women, because obviously I'm a woman and I can relate to them. And obviously I've been through the menopause myself. So I do look at myself as a good example that with, eating vegan / raw foods, you can feel so much better. It's just if you're willing to take the opportunity to actually do something different, that's all.
And you're writing a book at the moment?
Yes, my book is called Raw Food in a Flash. And it's at that stage where it's been proofread. So fingers crossed it's going to come out this year.
Lorraine, I really hope your book serves other women the way your raw food diet has served you during your menopause. In conclusion to this really interesting interview, anyone watching at the moment, what words would you like, or thoughts would you like to leave with them?
The main one is really just be open and be prepared to do something different than you've done before, and just don't be scared. And if you need help, support is out there. And I put myself out there for people because I'm happy to share, because you mentioned before the Raw Vegan Diet Challenge, which I'm also doing with you, and I'm also supporting with information. I'm happy to share, and people can get me on Facebook, and I do live streaming at the moment as well. So if anybody wants to call upon me for any support, I'm there to help. But just don't be sitting there in silence, just wondering. Talk, communicate, ask questions.
How will they find you on Facebook?
It's Vegan Raw Cooked. That's my name, but they could just Google me for Lorraine Palmer and they'll notice me by my hair.
So they Google Lorraine Palmer on Facebook.
Yeah, and I've got Instagram, I've got Pinterest, I've got Twitter as well. Just put in Lorraine Palmer, you'll find me, yeah.
I do think that you serve a valuable resource for people, because I think one of the greatest things possibly that people have to deal with when they go on a vegan or raw vegan diet is a mindset shift. Definitely.
And I think a lot of the reason why some people may feel a bit, oh no, I can't do that, is because everybody else is doing the same thing. There's, like I said before, there's lots of restaurants, there's lots of cooking programs. It's what we do. So eating a bit different to some people can seem a bit odd. What, you just don't eat any animals? But years to come, I think we're going to be looking odd at ourselves, thinking we used to eat animals because that's a living thing. Why would you do that? That's just my take anyway.
Fantastic. Lorraine, been really interesting hearing your story and hearing the wisdom you have about raw food and being a raw vegan. Thank you very much for taking the time out to come and share your story and your wisdom, and I wish you every success in your journey as being a raw food chef and a coach. And when your book comes out, I hope it touches many, many, many lives.
Thank you, Ken. I just want to say thanks for you interviewing me like this, because I really want more people to know how beautiful it can be to eat more raw and vegan foods and just leave the animals alone.
Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.